So we'll continue readings on Beyond Birth and Death by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In this way, all the senses have to be stopped in their external activities and concentrated on the form of Vishnu Murti, the form of God. The mind is very turbulent, but it has to be fixed on the Lord in the heart. When the mind is fixed within the heart, and the life air is transferred to the top of the head, one can attain perfection in yoga. So we just had a question about what is Kriya Yoga. There's a different society where they encourage Kriya Yoga. And in our last talk, we were discussing the different yogas. God explains the paths of yoga. Yoga means to connect with him. It's a Sanskrit word. And the Latin, it comes yoke, to join. So we need to join with God, and there's different systems to do that. There's Ashtanga Yoga, where we follow different asanas, pranayama, we control the body, control the life air. And in this form that we're hearing about, one's mind becomes absorbed in meditation. So God has a transcendental form. It's not a form like us. It's a spiritual form. And although our mind is very restless, it's very hard for us to remember things or meditate on things. Still, by practice, we can fix our mind on the form of God. And this is real meditation. So other schools where they teach you to meditate on, things like chakras or kriyas, this is like not the main point. The main point is to meditate on God, who's in our heart. And we will talk more through this book about bhakti yoga or devotional yoga. And that is considered the direct, supermost direct path. The other paths, you employ a system to get to love of God. But practicing bhakti is directly the path of love of God. That's where we dedicate all of our activities to God's service. So this is very natural for us because we are the soul. We have an eternal connection with God. We are meant to live in that relationship. So that's why this is continuing a little discussion on the different yoga systems. So this system that he's talking about now is this Ashtanga, where you're controlling your mind gradually, your senses, and you enter into a deep state of meditation. So he says at this point, the yogi determines where he is to go. In the material universe, there are innumerable planets. And beyond this universe, there is the spiritual universe. So we are just in one universe, but actually there's so many different universes, and they're all filled with innumerable planets. It's like when you look up at the night sky and you see the stars, we feel very small. But this is still within the material universe. Beyond that is the entirely different type of reality, which is the spiritual universe. So the yogis have information of these places from Vedic literatures. Just as one going to America can get some idea of what the country is like by reading books, one can also have knowledge of the spiritual planets by reading Vedic literatures. The yogi knows all these descriptions, and he can transfer himself to any planet he likes without the help of spaceships. Space travel by mechanical means is not the accepted process for elevation to other planets. Perhaps with a great deal of time, effort, and money, few men may be able to reach other planets by material means, spaceships, spacesuits, etc. But this is a very cumbersome and impractical method. In any case, it is not possible to go beyond the material universe by mechanical means. So even if someday they're going to very far away planets, still it's in the material universe, and we cannot find lasting happiness in this material universe. As we said, we are the soul. The generally accepted method for transferal to higher planets is the practice of the meditational yoga system, or Jnana Yoga. The Bhakti Yoga system, however, is not to be practiced for transferal to any material planet, for those who are servants of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, are not interested in any planets in this material world, because they know that on whatever planet one enters in the material sky, the four principles of birth, old age, disease, and death are present. So this is what we've been describing, that this is our problem. It's unnatural for us as the soul. Why should we have to take birth? Why should we have to get old? Why should we have to get disease? Why should we have to die? No one wants to, but it's forced upon us. So that shows we are not meant for that. That is not us. That's not who we are. And the soul is not meant to be subjected to that. So all of these material realms will have that same experience. Only in that spiritual realm where we hear of eternality, all the religious traditions, they talk about the eternal, something which is beyond the influence of time, because time acts on your body. Our body grows old. It's the influence of time. But in the spiritual world, time, it said, is conspicuous by its absence. There's no degradation. There's no getting old. And that's what we're meant for. That's what we are actually created for. And now we're undergoing a process of spiritual evolution to wake up to our higher potential. On higher planets, the duration of life may be longer than on this earth, but death is there nonetheless. By, quote, material universe, we refer to those planets where birth, old age, disease, and death reside. And by spiritual universe, we refer to those planets where there is no birth, no old age, disease, and death. Those who are intelligent do not try to elevate themselves to any planet within the material universe. So there's a lot of efforts now to go to higher planets, travel around in space, but that's not our real journey, just to go to another planet in the material world. The real journey is to go to that higher spiritual world. If one tries to enter higher planets by mechanical means, instant death is assured, for the body cannot stand the radical changes in atmosphere. But if one attempts to go to higher planets by means of the yoga system, he will acquire a suitable body for entrance. We see this demonstrated on this earth. For we know it is not possible for us to live in the sea in a watery atmosphere, nor is it possible for aquatics to live on the earth. As we understand that even on this planet, one has to have a particular type of body to live in a particular place, so a particular type of body is required for other planets. On the higher planets, bodies live much longer than on the earth. For 6 months on earth is equal to 1 day in the higher planets.
Wow.
Yeah,
Big
so
difference.
we spend January through June, all that time. In the higher planets,
Wow.
that's only one of their days. So,
Wow.
so the
Ah,
time, yeah, time is relative to the body. And similarly, when you look at small insects, they live their whole lifespan, sometimes in like one night, or let's say a week. And for them, that feels like a long life. For us, it's
poor
nothing.
baby. Yeah. For little things. The bees.
Yeah. So similarly for us, we think 100 years is a long time. On the higher planets, it's nothing. It's like a couple moments.
Ah, wow.
On the higher, okay, thus the Vedas describe that those who live on higher planets live upward to 10,000 Earth years.
Whoa.
Yet, despite such a long lifespan, death awaits everyone. Even if one lives 20,000 or 50,000 or even millions of years, in the material world, the years are all counted and death is there. How can we escape this subjugation by death? That is the lesson of the Bhagavad Gita. So these are deep things. We don't like to talk about death. It's like an uncomfortable thing. But if we do it with knowledge, it doesn't have to be a scary thing. It doesn't have to be a sad thing. It's part of learning. It's part of our experience. And the relationships, they carry on beyond death. You cannot be separated by death. Death is just a change of body. And Prabhupada gives the example of your clothes, like your shirt. Every day you take, we change our shirt. That doesn't mean that that's who we are. So these bodies, we change our bodies. We have to go from one to the next, to the next. So it changes the way we see life. It changes the way we perceive things, what is good, what is bad. And Prabhupada said this is so important because without this knowledge, we think, oh my God, I only have these few years. I have to try to enjoy as much as possible. There's nothing after death. So people go crazy. They don't know who they are, how long actually the soul will continue. So therefore, there's so much fear in our society. But with knowledge, Prabhupada said death, it's like sleeping for 6 months. Then you get a new body. So it's a little scary, but we have to, see the higher perspective. And then it's actually reassuring. Then we don't have to live with so much fear.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a lesson of the Bhagavad Gita. Najayate mriyate va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavitava nabuya ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death, nor once having been does he ever cease to be. He's unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So he referring to the soul. The soul is never born. The soul never ceases. The soul is unborn. It's eternal. It's ever existing, undying, and primeval. It is not slain when the body is slain. So that's good news. It's the best news, actually. You won't hear that
Yeah.
on the news today. On the news
No,
today, they try to scare you and just share all the bad stories of death
yeah.
without the knowledge. So it's a society of fear. We are,
That's how
yeah.
that's how they control,
Mhm.
by
We
fear.
we are spirit soul, and as such we are eternal. Why then should we subject ourselves to birth and death? One who asks this question is to be considered intelligent. So from the Vedic point of view, the real intelligence means asking this question, contemplating about this. If I'm eternal, why am I experiencing old age, disease, and death? You may remember the story of the Buddha. The Buddha was living in a palace, and the parents, they never let him see old age, disease, or death. So he lived in this idea that everything was young and fresh, there was no problems, and he grew up that way. Finally, one day he went out and he saw old people, he saw sick people, and he was so shocked. He said, oh my God, how is this possible? And he said, I must find a way to overcome this. This is unnatural. So then Buddha developed the Buddhist path, how to get free from samsara, the cycle of birth and death, because it was such a shock. But for us, we just take it for normal. We just grow up seeing it, and we think, yeah, that's just what we have to go through. So one who is intelligent, this is what we'll think about. We won't just be accumulating book knowledge or university knowledge and not intellectualizing about this actual problem of birth and death. Those who are Krishna conscious are very intelligent, right here, because they are not interested in gaining entrance to any planet where there is death. They will reject a long duration of life in order to attain a body like God's. So the spiritual body in that eternal realm is also eternal. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Sat means eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda means full of pleasure. Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure. If we transfer ourselves from this body into the spiritual world, either to Krishna Loka, Krishna's planet, or any other spiritual planet, we will receive a similar Sat Chit Ananda body. Thus, the aim of those who are in Krishna consciousness is different from those who are trying to promote themselves to higher planets within this material world. So we talked also last time about heaven. You go to a place where everything is all ephemeral and there's fairies, it's the clouds, everything is beautiful harps playing. But according to the Vedas, those higher realms, they are also temporary. You cannot stay there forever. Only in the kingdom of God. That's where we get this Sat Chit Ananda body which cannot be destroyed. It's full of knowledge. And it's full of pleasure, transcendental happiness. And that is bhakti. That is loving exchange, spiritual exchange. That's what gives real happiness, isn't it? We're looking for some emotional exchange. We want to feel love. We want to give love. So the real pleasure is doing that with God in the spiritual world. That's the highest kind of happiness. The happiness of the body is so temporary, it's so insignificant. It's here 1 minute, gone the next minute. We put so much effort into it. It's like insignificant compared to the spiritual happiness, the spiritual pleasure. So the self or soul of the individual is a minute spiritual spark. So we're described as a minute spark of God. The perfection of yoga lies in the transferal of this spiritual spark to the top of the head. Having attained this, the yogi can transfer himself to any planet in the material world according to his desire. If the yogi is curious to know what the moon is like, he can transfer himself there. Or if he's interested in higher planets, he can transfer himself there, just as travelers go to New York, Canada, or other cities on the earth. Wherever one goes on earth, he finds the same visa and customs systems operating, and on all the material planets, one can similarly see the principles of birth, old age, disease, and death operating. So this is describing one of the yoga systems where through meditation, you fix your consciousness at the top of the head. This is part of the Ashtanga yoga system, which is meditational. We follow bhakti, so we don't have to worry about trying to fix ourselves at the top of our head. We just serve Krishna, we chant Hare Krishna, we try to love God, and then He delivers us. He takes us back. See, the yoga means I have to try on my own to reach perfection. But the bhakti yoga means God is full of mercy and love, and He pulls us back to Him. Om iti ekaksharam brahma. At the point of death, the yogi can pronounce Om, Omkar, the concise form of transcendental sound vibration. If the yogi can vibrate the sound and at the same time remember Krishna or Vishnu Mam Anusmaram, he attains the highest goal. It is the process of yoga to concentrate the mind on Vishnu. That's another form of Krishna. The impersonalists imagine some form of the Supreme Lord, but the personalists do not imagine this, they actually see. Whether one imagines him or actually sees him, one has to concentrate his mind on the personal form of Krishna. Ananyacheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yogina. The one who remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So that's why we chant Hare Krishna, because we're trying to remember Krishna. And by hearing the name Krishna, we remember Krishna. So we have to hear a lot about God. And therefore we have these wonderful books. And at some point, we're planning to start another course where we can discuss other books. I'll just show you here on this website, database. There's so many different books here, all about the spiritual reality. And this one, we want to do a course on Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. These are very, very beautiful, all about the spiritual world, all about so many things. So this is what we should be trying to meditate and get absorbed in, this beautiful spiritual reality. Any reflection from your side? What do you think of all this?
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. Very well
Yes.
said. Those
Wow.
satisfied with temporary life, temporary pleasure, and temporary facilities are not to be considered intelligent, at least not according to the Bhagavad Gita. According to the Gita, one whose brain substance is very small is interested in temporary things. So our society, our culture today, it's all about the temporary things, isn't it? It's all about so many things which are very, very temporary, very short-lived. The happiness is short-lived, the pleasure is short-lived, facilities, they're temporary. We are eternal. So why should we be interested in temporary things? No one wants a non-permanent situation. If we're living in an apartment and the landlord asks us to vacate, we are sorry. But we are not sorry if we move into a better apartment. It is our nature, because we are permanent, to want a permanent residence. We don't wish to die, because in actuality we are permanent. Nor do we want to grow old or be diseased, because these are all external or non-permanent states. Although we are not meant to suffer from fever, sometimes fever comes and we have to take precautions and remedies to get well again. The fourfold miseries are like a fever, and they are all due to the material body. So that means the birth, the death, the old age, and the disease. That itself is a sickness. So just having the body is a type of sickness. We might think I'm healthy now, my health is good. No, just having the body, it's a sign that from the soul point of view, we're sick.
Ah,
From a spiritual point of view, yeah, we're in trouble.
what trap in this, whatever it is.
Trapped. If somehow we can get out of this material body, we can escape the miseries that are integral with it. So now let's do one more paragraph. For the impersonalists to get out of this body, Krishna here advises they vibrate the syllable Om. So as we said, this is for the yogis, they're trying to do it on their own. In this way, they can be assured of transmigration to the spiritual world. However, although they may enter the spiritual world, they cannot enter into any of the planets there. They remain outside in the Brahma Jyoti. This means the effulgence, the spiritual light. The Brahma Jyoti may be compared to the sunshine, and the spiritual planets may be compared to the sun itself. In the spiritual sky, the impersonalists remain in the effulgence of the Supreme Lord, the Brahma Jyoti. The impersonalists are placed in the Brahma Jyoti as spiritual sparks, and this is why the Brahma Jyoti is filled with spiritual sparks. This is what is meant by merging into the spiritual existence. It should not be considered that one merges into the Brahma Jyoti in the sense of becoming one with it. The individuality of the spirit spark is retained, but because the impersonalist does not want to take a personal form, he is found as a spiritual spark in that effulgence. Just as the sunshine is composed of so many atomic particles, so the Brahma Jyoti is composed of so many spiritual sparks. So he's explaining that this kind of mechanical yoga impersonalist path, it doesn't get one to God's abode. It just gets you to the Brahma, or the peace, the light, the expansion, the effulgence of God. but we really want to go to the higher realm. Now let's hear about Krishna Loka. Chintamani prakada sadma sukalpa vriksha lakshabriteshu sudabira vipalayantam lakshmi sahasra shata sambrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, fulfilling all desire in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of wish-fulfilling trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or gopis. So Prabhupada talks about the houses are made of this touchstone gems, spiritual gems. There's trees called desire trees. They give you whatever you want. This is the eternal realm. It's
Mm,
it's very nice and it's very beautiful. And many religions they don't talk about it. They don't go into the details. But the Vedas they talk more and more about the details of that spiritual realm.
wow.
So I think I'm gonna pause for now.